The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Jesus said to his disciples, "If your virtue goes no deeper than that of the scribes and Pharisees, you will never get into the kingdom of heaven. You have learned how it was said to our ancestors, 'You must not kill,' and if anyone does kill, he must answer for it before the court. But I say this to you, anyone who is angry with his brother will answer for it before the court. If a man calls his brother fool, he will answer for it before the Sanhedrin. And if a man calls him renegade, he will answer for it in the hell fire. So then, if you are bringing your offering to the altar, and there remember that your brother has something against you, leave your offering there before the altar. Go and be reconciled with your brother first, and then come back and present your offering. Come to terms with your opponent in good time while you are still on the way to the court with him, or he may hand you over to the judge and the judge to the officer, and you will be thrown into prison. I tell you solemnly, you will not get out till you have paid the last penny." This is the gospel of the Lord.
I hope that you are all well. And it's great to see you. And Jesus cares about how you feel, because you are the reason he came, and me. Can I tell you a story? It's not a true story, but it doesn't matter. It was a Sunday morning in a country parish in Ireland, and this priest gets up to the pulpit and says, "My dear people, stand up, all of you who want to go to heaven." And of course, everybody stands up. "Now, my dear people, you can sit down. Now stand up, all of you who want to go to hell." And nobody stands up. But then very slowly, Pato Shaughnessy stands. And the priest says, "Shaughnessy, is it how you want to go to hell?" "No, Father," he said, "but I didn't like to see you standing there all on your own." So, there was a British Jewish rabbi by the name of Jonathan Sacks. You may have heard of him. A man really worth reading. He sadly passed away. A commentator, really, a deep thinker, a man of deep reading, and reading also the signs of the times. And he reads this moment in history that we are living as a key moment in the history and the story of humanity. And he speaks of cultural climate change. Cultural climate change. We speak a lot of climate change, but he goes much deeper and speaks of what's happening in society as catastrophic. We see the destruction of human life. We see the dismantling of the family. We see people confused about their own identity and making up their own gender. We see a huge crisis in the meaning of life and what the goal of society and living is. And he speaks about religion and how can religion deal with the modern world, and he comes up with 3 basic ways in which religion relates to the world. And he says, one, religion can try to dominate the world. Two, to withdraw from the world. And three, to re-inspire the world. And if you think about it, all those three things are happening in society, in the world. Radical Islam tries to dominate society and is in some parts of the world and not too far away from us. And then there are the people who withdraw. We all know Catholics who have withdrawn from the world and perhaps formed a kind of a holy huddle, a safe space in which they feel protected from the world. This is a huge danger in Ireland right now. And then there are other Catholics, of course, in Ireland who want to go with the way the world is going. And they even speak about the development of doctrine in terms of really changing church teaching. And in some way are trying to consecrate modern ideas that do not belong to the mind of Christ. And both of these views of those who withdraw and those progressive liberals, shall we say, progressivists, both of these ways are based on a kind of utopia. That somewhere, sometime, there is a perfect world. This can happen with those who look back. Those who look back to some imaginary past where everything was wonderful. It wasn't. And then the people who, the progressivists, if only we could be free, then we will find this perfect church and this perfect society. My friends, our way has to be the third way, to re-inspire the world, to engage with the world as it is right now. And we acknowledge, friends, that we are all sinners. We are, all of us, messed up. I am messed up. Look at the gospel today. The acknowledgement of the broken humanity in the readings. All three readings today. First reading, Psalm, and the gospel. The gospel says, for example, if you have something between yourself and your brother or sister, leave your offering there at the altar and go and be reconciled. We're all sinners. We're all dust. Just last Wednesday week, we had marked on our foreheads with the ashes the reminder that we are dust and that we are sinners. And all around our beautiful country, there are people who do not believe that, do not believe that we are sinners. And my friends, if I am not a sinner, I do not need a Savior. But I am a sinner, and I have a Savior. And you are a sinner, and you have a Savior, and He is here. And when we were marked with the ashes on our forehead, we were marked with the sign of the Savior, the sign of the cross. He is the one and only Savior who fights for us all, who conquers evil, who conquers the evil one who is your sworn enemy and mine, who is alive and active in this world, who hates you with a personal hatred and hates me. And look at last Sunday's gospel. Satan even tempted Jesus. And if he tempts Jesus, will he not tempt his followers? But the good news is that the Savior is born for us. He has taken on our human nature. Imagine Jesus Christ right now in eternity in heaven has the same human nature as you and I. And he made chairs and tables with his hands. And he listened to his mother Mary, and he followed the example of his foster father Joseph. And he suffered, and he died, and he rose again. And he left us his church. And he wants us to engage with the world, with all its brokenness, with all its faults. Did he not choose Judas as one of his apostles, knowing that he would betray him? Isn't Jesus a realist? He does not withdraw from the world. He does not want to dominate the world. He wants to engage with the world. So, friends, stop thinking about a utopia. Look at the world that the Lord has given us right now, with all its faults. And in among the good seed of the world and the good seed inside of all of us, there is also the bad seed. And Jesus knows it. And he looks at you and me now with those two eyes of the most perfect beauty and love. And maybe we look at the image of divine mercy and see those eyes looking at you, not accusing you, encouraging you, loving you, caring for you, calling you closer to him, and he knows that you're a mess and that I'm a mess. But he is the one we trust in. And even though it grieves us to see the world so broken, friends, he knows it. And he has put you in this time right where you are to be his disciple. This world is our area of battle, and we do not fight alone. We have the holy souls. We have the multitude of the saints rooting for us right now. The huge army of faithful people gone before us. So stop looking back. Do not be afraid. Know that if you don't give up, you will always win. And don't be looking for a utopia. God has put you right there, wherever you are, to be Christ. To pray, to live, to work. Not to be a grouch, not to be pessimistic. A true soldier fights not because he hates what's in front of him, but because he loves what is behind him. Your family, your friends. And think of all those young people aching for, searching for meaning in life, for some authentic living of the faith. And if they look at me, and if they look at you, will they find it? Or will they go elsewhere? And so, friends, let's join together in following Jesus. And you can't do it on your own. You must work with someone else, with a group. The Lord sent them out in twos. and be patient. Rome was not built in a day. And always work with love. Right there where the Lord put you. And yes, it will mean suffering, but it is a great adventure. And together, we will inspire the world.